Hello again. Once again, another news story. Shocking story. This one, though, I was originally going to do it to act as a bit of a social counterbalance to the previous story. Obviously, if you haven't watched that yet, please do. That's Is Britain a Joke 4? When you hear that story, you'll understand that it was obviously the perpetrator in that was from a foreign background, clearly foreign. Eritrea, of a much darker complexion than the average Brit. So when I saw this story, I thought, oh, this will be a great story to read. Very similar topic to the last one, and I'll just read the headline to you. And this was why I got my initial impression to it, and then I'll show you what shocks me in a moment. So this is from Sky News. I'll put the link below. So if you want to, please go to the site after this video and give Sky a bit of traffic. Obviously, because we've had the good grace to use their material for this video. Man who raped woman in front of other passengers on London Underground jailed. There may be some things in this article which I might have to slightly adjust the wording for as well for the content of YouTube and what they allow and don't allow. So, Ryan Johnston sexually assaulted and then raped a 20-year-old woman who was returning home from an evening out with friends on a Piccadilly line train. Very, very similar to the other one. Man called Ryan Johnston. So I thought, oh yeah, that's obviously an English person. Well, imagine my surprise when I saw this individual. You can't make this up. You actually cannot make this up. I genuinely thought it was going to be somebody who looked like the North FC meme. I genuinely did. But anyway, let's get on with the story. A man has been jailed for raping a woman in a brazen attack on the London Underground in front of other passengers during a busy morning service. I mean, that is insane. Busy morning service. Ryan Johnston, 37, was sentenced at Inner London Crown Court on Friday to 9 years in prison, with a further 5 on licence, the Crown Prosecution Service said. He was charged with rape, attempted rape, and 2 counts of sexual assault, as well as outraging public decency in relation to another complaint. This man is an absolute monster, by the sounds of it, and there's another example of why we need flogging to come back. Because I'm telling you now, a lot of these people don't care about prison because they don't care about life in general. They don't own the home. Possessions are meaningless to them. They'll go out and steal. They just don't care. However, what they do care is about themselves personally. And if they know they're going to risk getting lashed with a cat o' nine tails, I'm telling you now, the overwhelming majority of these people would stop in an instant. They may go on to commit a crime, but the repeat offence of a lot of people will stop. I'm not saying all crime would disappear, but I'm telling you now, a lot of people wouldn't bother. Johnson chased 2 women to their home after they noticed him self-pleasuring whilst looking through the window outside a house near Bounds Green Underground Station at around 5 a.m. on 23rd February 2020, British Transport Police said. He banged on their door and put his hand through the letterbox after the women managed to get inside safely before he eventually left. I wonder if he was on drugs or if he was drunk or something like that. They're probably going to say he's got schizophrenia or something like that. He then boarded a Piccadilly line train at Heathrow Terminal 5 around 3 hours later, where he approached a young woman who was asleep, the BTP said. Johnson sexually assaulted and then raped the 20-year-old who was returning home from an evening out with friends in front of other passengers. So she was possibly drunk. Again, as I said in the previous video, and I'm not blaming this woman for this, she should be able to ride the train safely. However, if you get yourself into such a state that you're basically putting a target on your back for nonsense like this. A French national travelling with his 11-year-old son witnessed the attack and reported it to police. But the attack was not captured on CCTV and officers were unable to identify the victim at the time of the attack, the BTP said. That's British Transport Police, by the way. Johnson was arrested at HMP Brixton, where he was serving time for burglary in December 2022. After a BTP review of historic rape cases led to his identification, and detectives identified the victim in the same month. I mean, if the train was packed, why didn't those people grab him? this is another problem with our society, and this is a problem with multicultural societies. Nobody has a feeling of belonging to society anymore. So now we basically have people who are shocked by what they're seeing, but they are not motivated enough to get involved because it's not our people. A lot of these people in London are just transient individuals who don't actually plan on living in London there forever. So they feel no connection and no obligation to look after society. It's shocking. And I suppose on another hand as well is they're probably thinking, I'm not going to get stabbed by this man, which again is another consequence of multiculturalism, unfortunately, because that sort of violence was very uncommon once upon a time in public. It used to a lot of murder and violent crime was usually done overwhelmingly by people who knew each other and in the privacy of people's homes, of the person they knew or their own home. The French national was flown to the UK to testify at the trial, where he helped out Johnston's claims he knew the complainant and she had consented, the CPS said. A jury found Johnston guilty on all 5 charges after a 2-week trial at Inner London Crown Court in August. He was placed on the sex offenders register indefinitely. I mean, that's the same as the last case, indefinitely put on the sex offenders register, but what use is that? And to be quite honest with you, I'm pretty sure that this man, Mr. Johnston, or I can't remember what his first name was off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure he was born in the UK, but I don't care. Deport him. He's not British. He's not English. I don't care that he was born here. Just like I was born in Germany, but I'm not German, and I'm not of Germany. Where you're born isn't who you are. It's much, much deeper than that. This man needs getting rid of. He is not English. He was also placed on the sex offenders register indefinitely. Senior investigating officer, Detective Inspector Paul Atwell of the BTP's Major Serious and Organised Crime Unit said Johnston's brazen attack in front of witnesses highlights his lack of shame or remorse for his actions, something which continued throughout his trial. Well, that's just a sign of the times that we're living in, really, and the degradation of our civilization, that people feel so empowered to be able to commit such a horrendous crime in public. It literally shows the breakdown of social norms in our culture, and the ineffectiveness of our legal system to deal with these people or to make people feel that they can't commit these crimes and that they can just be, because going to prison, somebody goes to prison, they may not feel that's a punishment. They're just like, well, I'm going to prison, 3 meals a day, roof over my head, I don't care. I'm thankful his violence and despicable actions have been recognised by the guilty verdicts and significant sentence. His depraved actions will have a lifelong impact on the victim and those who witness this. I'm thankful for their bravery throughout this investigation. I hope they can now find some comfort in... Oh, pressed an advert by accident then. I hope they can find comfort in some of the facts that justice has been served. Why? Now, when I was in the army, I shared a room, for those who don't know, with a Ugandan and a Nigerian. And I remember talking to them about criminals and crime in those countries. And it's the same in both of them, that if a criminal gets caught doing something, so say somebody's at the market and they get seen trying to pinch, I don't know, a couple of apples or a mango or something, a mob will chase them. And they will beat them to within either, well, probably beat them to death, to be honest with you, or they'll hang them from a tree. And by hang them, I mean actually lynch them. Like, they will kill the person. People will run to the nearest police station and hand themselves into the police. And they'll get a good hiding at the police station as well, by the police. But they know that they'll live at the end of it, and that's the difference. Yet over here, if a mob was to beat that man, and I believe that would be just and fine. That I do, and I don't believe that should be classed as vigilante justice either. Our society, in my opinion, has gone far, far, far too soft, and that's a consequence, I'm afraid, of feminism, in my opinion, and feminist policies being brought into our wider society. But even a judge would want to prosecute the mob for doing that. And yes, I do believe that there would need to be an investigation into that happening. But I do believe that in a case like that, the police and the Crown Prosecution Service should have the indiscretion to be able to say, no, that was justice. That was public justice being served on that individual, and then sentence him in court as well to prison and give him lashes. It's just absolutely awful. The fact that a packed train felt absolutely no ability to be able to deal with that in public is unbelievable. Absolutely shocking that that's happened. And every single one of those people on that train who just stood by and did nothing, they should be punished as well. again, this is what has happened with getting rid of the death sentence and getting rid of corporal punishment to people and getting rid of shame culture in society. I guess that's part of the collapse of attendance in church as well, though there's no community anymore in wider society, is there? It's only a short article, so this is a very quick video compared to the others. Thanks for watching. As I've said before, please go to the Sky News channel with that. Just give it a quick link, let's have a quick look at it, just so they get a bit of traffic, so they can carry on giving us these stories to read. If you've found that interesting and appreciate me sharing that article, please like, subscribe, and put a little comment below to help with the algorithm so it gets around to other people. Cheers very much. Take care. Goodbye.